She left after I sobbed 3 words. When a single sentence destroys 8 years of marriage, 3 words. That's all it took to end an 8-year relationship, not an affair. Not financial ruin? Not some dramatic betrayal you'd see in movies. Just 3 careless words that slipped out during a dinner party. Words I thought were funny at the time, words that made everyone else at the table laugh. Except her. I'm Rachel, and 6 months ago, my husband David packed his bags after I made what I thought was a harmless joke about his performance. Performance anxiety, specifically, the bedroom kind. Yeah, I know, already cringing, right? But here's what nobody tells you about relationships. Sometimes the worst wounds aren't inflicted with malice. They're inflicted with thoughtlessness wrapped in humor. Delivered by someone who claims to love you. Welcome to Real Talk Relationships, where today we're diving into something uncomfortable. How casual. Cruelty disguised as jokes can destroy the strongest bonds. David and I met in graduate school. He was studying architecture. I was in marketing. We bonded over late-night coffee runs and shared complaints about our thesis advisors. He was quiet, thoughtful, the kind of guy who listened more than he talked. I was the opposite, quick with comebacks, always had a story ready, life of every party. For 8 years, it worked. We balanced each other. I brought energy to his introspection. He brought calm to my chaos. We had the apartment everyone wanted to hang out in, hosted brunches that lasted until dinner, traveled to places neither of us could afford but somehow made happen. But here's the thing about opposites. Sometimes what attracts you becomes what destroys you. My quick tongue, the thing he once found charming. It became a weapon I didn't even realize I was wielding. It started small. Teasing him about his receding hairline at a birthday party. Making jokes about his salary compared to mine when we were out with friends. Nothing he protested, David never did. He'd just give this tight smile, laugh it off, change the subject. I thought we had that kind of relationship, you know? The kind where you could roast each other because underneath it all you were solid. I watched couples on sitcoms do it all the time. Playful banter. Keeping each other humble, but there was this moment about a year ago. We were at his parents' house for Thanksgiving. His mom mentioned how his brother just got a promotion, and I, without thinking, said, "Well, at least David's got other talents," with this meaningful look. Everyone laughed nervously. David went silent for the rest of dinner. That night, he slept on the couch. The final incident happened at our friend Maya's dinner party. 8 people around the table, wine flowing, everyone sharing embarrassing stories. Someone brought up awkward bedroom moments. You know how these conversations go at adult dinner parties. Maya's husband told some self-deprecating story. Everyone laughed. The vibe was light, comfortable. Then Maya looked at me with this mischievous grin and said, "Rachel, you've got to have some stories." And God help me, I did. I launched into this tale about David's performance issues. Made it sound hilarious. Painted him as this nervous wreck. Used words like disappointing and couldn't quite. Got massive laughs. I was on fire until I looked at David's face. He wasn't smiling. He was staring at his plate like he wanted it to swallow him whole. And in that moment, I knew I'd crossed a line I couldn't uncross. We drove home in complete silence. The kind of silence that's louder than screaming. When we got to our apartment, he went straight to the bedroom. I heard drawers opening, closing. The closet door, zippers, I followed him. "David, come on." It was just a joke. Everyone was sharing stories. He didn't look at me. Just kept packing. "You humiliated me in front of our friends." I was just trying to be funny. "You're always just trying to be funny." His voice was so quiet, so controlled. "About my job, my hair, my family." Now this, you've been slowly dismantling me for years, Rachel, and calling it humor. He zipped his suitcase. I'm done being your punchline. That was 6 months ago? He's been staying with his brother ever since. Won't return my calls. Won't meet for coffee. Just sent divorce papers through his lawyer. Here's what. I've learned sitting alone in our apartment every night. I was a bully. I wrapped my cruelty in charisma and called it personality. I made him smaller to make myself bigger. And I did it publicly because private wounds apparently weren't enough. I keep replaying moments. That Thanksgiving comment? The time I joked about his dad bod at the beach. How I'd mimic his stutter, yeah? He had a slight stutter that came out when he was nervous for laughs at parties. Each incident felt minor. Just a joke. But David experienced them as 1,000 tiny cuts, slowly bleeding him of dignity and self-worth. The worst part? I genuinely loved him. I still do. But I treated the person I loved like material for my comedy routine. And I didn't stop even when I saw the hurt in his eyes. Because his feelings mattered less to me than being the funny one. Therapists told me something that gutted me. Humor is often the vehicle we use to say cruel things we know we shouldn't say directly. It gives us plausible deniability. I was just kidding becomes our shield against accountability. She was right. I use jokes to express superiority, resentment, even contempt feelings I didn't want to admit I had. Making fun of David's salary let me voice my frustration about being the breadwinner without having an actual fight. Mocking his performance let me express sexual dissatisfaction without vulnerability. But here's what I didn't realize. Jokes don't make criticism hurt less. They make it hurt more. Because now you've not only wounded someone, you've made them feel pathetic for being hurt. After all, it was just a joke. If they're upset, they're the problem. They can't take a joke. They're too sensitive. It's gaslighting wrapped in laughter. If you're listening to this and recognizing yourself as the joke maker or the target, here's what I wish I'd known. First, just joking is not a get out of jail free card. Impact matters more than intention. If your humor consistently targets someone's insecurities, it's not humor, it's cruelty with an audience. Second, public humiliation is a relationship killer. Whatever you wouldn't say to their face in private, definitely don't broadcast to friends and family. Laughs from others don't erase the betrayal your partner feels. Third, pay attention to what your jokes reveal about your true feelings. My digs at David weren't random, they targeted my actual resentments. My humor was my passive aggression. Finally, some wounds don't heal. David might never trust me again, and honestly, he shouldn't. I had 8 years to learn this lesson and chose not to until it cost me everything. The divorce will be final in 3 weeks. David's engaged to someone new, a woman he met through his brother. I've seen her Instagram. She posts these photos of them at quiet restaurants, hiking trails, art museums. In every picture, he looks peaceful, like he's not waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm genuinely happy for him, which surprises me. Because seeing him happy means I have to fully accept that I was the problem. Not him, not our incompatibility. Me, I've started therapy. Working on why I need to be the center of attention, even if it means diminishing others. Unpacking why my self-worth was so tied to being the funniest person in the room. Some relationships don't survive the lesson you need to learn, but the lesson still matters. I destroyed my marriage, but I won't destroy the next one. That's all I can offer now, becoming someone worthy of the love I took for granted. Thanks for listening to this one. I know it wasn't easy to hear. It definitely wasn't easy to share. If this story hit home, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below about a time you were either the joke teller or the punchline. What did you learn? How did you change? And here's your homework. Go through your last week of conversations. Count how many times you got laughs at someone else's expense. Now count how many times you built someone up instead. The ratio might surprise you, Dot. Until next time, be kind, be honest, and remember, the best humor lifts people up, not tears them down. This is real talk relationships. Stay real.